All right, y'all, we're gonna check out this boudoir photographer. Gonna see if their local search and their city search, if they got BSS for either of those searches. We only got one search for them today. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pitch post, home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Highest intent peeps on the left. These are peeps searching for both boudoir photo shoot in their city today. I focus on them and make videos about actually getting them to come to us. Here, videos about BSS. Over on the right, there's the lowest intent peeps. We talk about getting these peeps to come to us on our sister brand or sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. Both are bad. 0, extra bad. If we got 0 slots page 1, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So if we end up page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of searchers, approximately 80% of buyers, approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. Bad, extra bad. Also, 1 slot page 1, that ain't good enough anymore. That's bad as well, because guess what? There's 9 other organic slots page 1. Probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. So everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. Not standing out, not looking special. So boudoir buyer, what they're going to do is they're just going to click down, open everyone's website, opens everyone's website up and, literally get a quote, fill out everyone's contact form, get a quote from everyone, price shop, price compare, negotiate, waste everyone's time, blah, blah, blah. And, only 10% of the time we're going to get that person to buy from us. So that other 90% of the time we're wasting it. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's not normal to have such a small few number of page 1 links on Google search. But it is accepted and it is, commonplace, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And I know this is normal because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days utilizing this new methodology we developed. Now, these 2 deeper root causes here are 1, market saturation, 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Over time, people get kind of new devices, new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and eventually people throw up their Google My Business profile, and then they now shoot boudoir, or they throw up their, website saying they now are a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers competing for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single boudoir photographer. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is new to most people. Very, very, it used to be very common to accept this, very common to accept that, every boudoir photographer is, gets 0-1 slots page 1 on Google, and either you get it or you don't, and it's not much you can do about it. And even if you had 1 slot on page 1 on Google, well, maybe there's some market saturation and that slot, that slot goes away, or, then you go down to page 2. Well, you got to kind of hope those people leave the market and then hope Google puts you back on page 1. So it's kind of like a learned helplessness belief, but it's not true. We've learned it's not true because, again, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days. So we know the false belief page 1 equality. Now we know that it is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And yeah, dude, if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we're on page, and if we're on page 1, everyone else has got 1 slot on, all the other 9 competitors got 1 slot as well. So we're essentially invisible as well. So if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're dying fast. If we're on page 1 with 1 slot, we're dying slow. In both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer, which actually is kind of like the warning light, the red flag, the canary in the coal mine that tells us our boudoir photography business itself is actually on the path to disappearing. It's now starting down that path. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution though. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. You know, we saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, making sure that we show up there. And what this acts like is basically like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side, the backside of these Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow up there, what it does is it, all year it's melting into streams, melting, the streams, small streams, flow into small rivers, but it all eventually comes to be collected in the Amazon River. That's where all the water actually comes from. And that page one in Google search is the Amazon River, but we got to first stuff, SQ methodology. We got to first saturate, do social search saturation, put the snow up there at the top of the mountain, so then it can, all those videos, links can flow into page one in Google search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to grow during periods where the market's getting more and more saturated every day, and give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen a lot of people to do that is having a large, well-known brand, but that takes on average, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. AI is here. We need results. We need a opportunity ASAP. And actually, interestingly enough, S-cube methodology, by my estimates, can actually help those actually build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all these other kind of standard ways of doing it, just because we're doing more volume on more surfaces and showing up in the right places way more often over time. It's kind of like a double bonus of utilizing S-cube methodology. So example now. All right, so we are right now going to, let's say, we're going to Boise, Idaho. And there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Boise, Idaho. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir photography. And as a result, everyone's website's trying to rank page one on Google as much as possible. Ultra competitive. We're like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. Literally the only thing left that allows us to compete effectively is S-cubed methodology. So we decided to crank it to the max, like way more than average boudoir photographer would. And let's say we're taking up the first, 300 slots of social search across all the social platforms, and then that flows onto Google search. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. Well, it's 10 organic slots, per page on Google. So we're literally taking basically the first 30 pages of Google. So whenever a boudoir buyer searches for us anywhere digitally, we basically got like the first 300 slots to ourselves. So we are, basically like, we're basically the only one they can find, whether they're searching social media, they're searching Google, basically the only one they can find. So in this case, they'd have to, scroll to slot 301, or would that be on Google page 31 to find us? And so in this case, whose business is growing? Whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely only ours, because we're basically the only one that can be found by buyers. And whose boudoir photography businesses are dying, disappearing, going invisible? Well, most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers competing against us in Boise, Idaho. And so this is, kind of an ultra example of what S-cube methodology, kind of the opportunity it could give to a boudoir photography business, but this is like an ultra extreme version, ultra extreme example version. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more links page one Google search. And the second initial benefit we're getting is every new link we get on page one Google search, good for us. And we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. This is awesome. So we can literally control how many of our competitors are on page one of Google search are not organic by our effort in acquiring these organic Google slots. And it's good because these slots have some momentum, not infinite momentum, but they do have some momentum. Unlike Google PPC ads or any ads, that momentum goes to zero the instant you stop paying for them. And let's see. Yeah, so a lot of boudoir photographers like this. They're like kick their competitors off. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search as the minimum. More is obviously better. But that's because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot each on page 1. So if we got 3, we're dominating. Everyone else has got 1. We're actually standing out, actually looking unique. And the super rare train, someone has 2. Well, we still got 3, so we're dominating them as well. So we're basically kind of dominating in all scenarios here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution, thank the universe, SQ'd methodology. We use that to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results utilize an SQ methodology. So I actually wanted to rank for this keyword, well, I want to dominate page 1 for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I went to work purely utilizing SQ methodology and see my results. We're going down the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 to 10 slots, Google page 1, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. All right, main event here. You can see this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search, but it looks like they got 1 search here. So we're combining the local and city. We're also going to see if they hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google search. All right, so DeLand, Florida. All right, so, all right, we're here. All right, we got 1 slot. And yeah, 1 slot. 2 slots, okay. Now boudoir's in kind of the body text, smaller. But all right, we'll give you 2 slots here. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 slots, so good. So we do not have BSS, boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not hit the recommended GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots in our search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your areas, and you're saying you have BSS for at least 1 of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google search for at least 1 of those searches, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually will give us and wants to give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you've been looking for some like SQ methodology. SQ methodologies, your one path forward that you can see that'll actually help you, get all these slots. And you like the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search, and you really like kicking your competing with boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. You like those. You also understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps become boudoir photographers over time. Okay, yeah, who doesn't know that? But you're thinking ahead and you're being like, man, AI is taking more and more peeps jobs. Last time that happened, COVID, and people lost their jobs, but people still had to earn money. So everyone's got a high-powered smartphone, ultra-powered camera. So tons of peeps became boudoir photographers then. So you're like, oh no, there's actually going to be more and more and more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace because they lost their jobs, still got to earn money. Way above and on top of the people that are simply naturally are upgrading their gear. So you're actually realizing, man, I actually got to fortify my position on page 1 and I have like so many page 1 links that Google is ranking me for on page 1 that Google actually runs out and starts putting my page 1 worthy links to force them to start filling out page 2, 3, and 4. And you need to fortify because you actually got to keep current competing boudoir photographers from ever ranking page 1 Google search, and as Also, any new boudoir photographers that come in losing their job due to AI, remember ranking page one Google search. So you got to fortify your position, like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana. And so you're liking that future benefit, kind of fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand execute and SQ methodology correctly every single day. We're actually throwing up basically creating invisible thematic keyword columns in our brand, kind of attached, plugged into our brand. And as a result, we're building up this like massive backend AI keyword mindshare with all these highest intent boudoir buyer keywords plugged into our brand. So every new day we execute this, we get the benefits of higher probability being recommended here, AI overview right at the top, most premium organic placement on Google search or any search, whoever's using Bing search out there, and also increasing the probability that AI apps recommend us in parallel. ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, they all run on the same backend thematic keyword kind of mindshare system, where it's looking at repetition, relevance, age, authority with all these different keywords. And that AI searches, dude, it's getting larger and larger, more and more and more every single day. And so, like in those feature benefits, and actually last time I did AI search with the wall photographers in the city, it was a ChatGPT, and dude, it returned me 3. When I did a manual search, Google search, manual Facebook search, I found like 60. So I was like, man, we gotta get these slots any way possible. And you're seeing SQ methodology is the only thing that kind of enables the speedy creation of these invisible thematic keyword columns compared to any other solution out there. You also like the future benefit, building a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than normal methods or methods everyone else is using, because we're doing much higher volume across many more surfaces. And you also understand that since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you also like that you have a chance to get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits. So you can actually build up a massive backlog of page one worthy links ahead of your competitors and build up massive backend AI keyword mindshare, again, ahead of all your competitors. Basically make a big gap between all your current competitors and future competitors as AI takes their job, and kind of in preparation for that. And well, I mean, that's already happening already. And because of that, you decided to be first mover in your city, adopt this technology, be the first one so you can box everyone else out, because you understand the converse is if one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city signs on with me to use this first, then you're actually going to be, well, in order for you to compete, you're going to have to increase, or actually for first, you'd have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself. Well, actually derive it for the first time for yourself. And you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, because we're the ones that invented it. And as a result of that, you'd be, you then have to equal our execution every single day in order to, and that would happen after that is you would maintain the gap that we currently have ahead of you, me and your competitor. So to make any headway, you'd actually have to double or triple our execution every single day. And in order for you to do that, well, you still wouldn't be even 100% confident executing this strategy, because you wouldn't be 100% confident you've correctly derived SQ methodology in the first place. And you'd be looking at all this and be like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? And so you realize all that, and you decide, oh, screw that. You're simply going to be the first mover in your city, because this opportunity is too good to pass up. And so if that's you, shoot us a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with us, you cannot. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.